they would change their names, and thereby they would disconnect them from their history, from their heritage, and from their hope. You all watched Roots, right? You remember when they tried to change Kunta's name to Toby? Amen. Young folk, y'all ought to watch that. And Kunta refused to call himself Toby. Every time they threatened him with something, every time they whipped him and beat him and asked him, "What's your name?" he would still say, "My name is Kunta." See, the taking of the name was to strip them of their heritage, of their hope, because whether you know it or not, history, heritage, and hope are all connected. It teaches us that if we don't know our history, we will have no sense of our heritage. And if we are unaware of our heritage, then ultimately we will have no hope. You have to know where you are in order to have insight about where you are going. And that's why everything from your past is intricately connected to where you are right now. And it can become the platform that becomes the stage that sets up where God is sending you to. It's a direct correlation of what the Lord brought you through. So I just want to tell somebody, you've got to be careful how you try to cancel out where you have been. When you buy a house in Long Meadow, don't act like you ain't never lived in the hood. Y'all ain't gonna help me preach now. Be careful how you try to cancel out where you've been, because God can use where you're from to set your shout and your testimony of what and where he is trying to take you to. Born on the wrong side of the tracks, the mistakes that we've made, the hurt, the pain, the missteps, the divorce, the jail time, the failures, the embarrassment, the humiliation, the people who walked out, the loss, the repossession, the eviction, the layoff, the setback, everything that you've been through. You have to know that where you are from tells you where God is trying to take you to, because in order for you to get to where God wants you to be, he had to bring you through some things to prepare you for where he was taking you to. The Lord is trying to send us somewhere, so we have to be careful not to curse our past in the face of our present, because it can bless our future. Brothers and sisters, our heritage and our history can help us to see clearly where we are. And these three Hebrew boys were given new names in the land of their captivity. And so they became known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But though their names were changed, watch this, they remembered the meanings of the names they received in their heritage. Hananiah, God is gracious. His name was changed to Shadrach, which meant under the command of Aku, the Babylonian moon god. But he remembered that God was gracious. Mishael, God is our resemblance. His name was changed to Meshach, which meant who is like Aku. But he remembered God is our resemblance. Azariah, God is my helper, changed to Abednego, which meant servant of the gods. But he remembered that Jehovah is our helper. Though their names were changed, they were not tripping over a label or a tag. They remembered who they were, and they remembered whose they were. Well, Lord, I just want God for once to deliver me from folk who get hung up on titles. People who try to be in name who they are not in function and reality. See, brothers and sisters, we can talk that talk, but if we can't walk the walk that we talk, our title means nothing at all. We don't have to keep announcing we're a Christian. Look at somebody and say, just be a Christian. We don't have to keep telling people we own a business. Just run your business. We don't have to keep reminding everybody that we're a preacher, I'm a pastor, I'm a deacon, I'm a leader, I'm president of this and that. all of that really doesn't matter. What we are doing with our life, what we are doing with our witness and with our testimony and with our function is what really matters. You see, when they left the hills of Judah as captives, they were forced to leave all of their possessions behind. The city lay in ruins. The towers were destroyed. The gates of the city had been ripped from the hinges. Their families had been decimated and scattered. Their businesses had been shattered and ruined. Their wealth had been plundered. Their money had been seized, and even the privilege to choose their own praying gown, all of that was left behind. The Babylonians were an irreligious and polytheistic people. They worshiped not one God, but many gods. And one of the unique features of Babylonian worship was that its focus changed according to who sat on the throne. Whenever there was a new king on the throne, it meant a new God, a new order of worship, a new practice of faith. They switched gods when they switched kings. So when Nebuchadnezzar ascended to the throne in Babylon, he brought with him his own method and manner of religion. And the people, accustomed to the shifting of religious affection, turned their attention to yet another God. But although these three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, had lost all of their possessions in Judea, they had not lost their faith in Yahweh their God. See, brothers and sisters, you can lose your possessions, but you don't have to lose your faith. They brought their faith with them to Babylon. Oh yeah, Babylon, the name meant corruption and carnality. But they knew God. They loved God, and they were determined to serve but one God. And although they had lost their families, they didn't lose their faith. They brought their faith with them to Babylon, to the place of corruption, to the place of carnality. They brought with them, the Lord is my light and my salvation. They brought that with them to Babylon. Hast thou not known that the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, faints not, neither is weary? There is no searching of his understanding, for he gives power to the weak, and to them that have no might he increases their strength. For even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They brought that with them to Babylon. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. They brought that with them to Babylon. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he'll give you the desire of your heart. They brought that with them to Babylon. They brought with them, fret not yourself because of evildoers, for they shall be cut down as the chaff. They brought that with them. They brought with them, the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He make me to lie down in green pastures. They brought that with them. They brought with them, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. They brought that with them. They brought with them, you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make any graven images or bow your knees to other gods. They brought that with them to Babylon. They left their family, but they didn't leave their faith. All of their possessions and property was still in Judea, but their faith was still in their hearts. Oh, it's no wonder that David said, Lord, thy word have I hid in my heart. If I don't have a Bible with me, I got your word in my heart. If I don't have a Sunday school book, I got your word in my heart. If the choir's not singing a song, or they're not singing any hymns, or they're not reading from the program, I've got your word in my heart. Oh, they left their possessions, but their faith still lingered in their hearts. The laws of God were still etched deeply in their mind. You ought to look at somebody and say, you got to take it with you. You got to take it with you. Oh, they used to sing that song, take the Lord along with you. Everywhere you go, you're going to need him. You're going to need him. And after Nebuchadnezzar Nebuchadnezzar had been successful in expanding the boundaries of Babylon. After his borrowed power had been used to consolidate his stronghold on the territory, he sought to celebrate his own success. And here's what King Nebuchadnezzar